So when we're asked often why people plan an estate, I want to tell you that the first obvious answer is nobody wants to pay tax. Nobody, especially if you're from rural Alberta. They'll give it away before they pay tax. So ultimately, paying tax is obviously top of mind under the current situation with the high tax tables of 48% we are facing. And so many of us are wanting to give a lot of contemplation to this. I will definitely spend some time tonight on tax minimization in an estate, but I want to actually talk about really why people plan. And there are the softer issues. The first one is we all want to preserve the wealth we worked so hard for. We are new money in Canada, not old money. And so we didn't inherit it, and we want to enjoy it and preserve it. So I have some of my wealthiest clients always finding the bargain when they go on a holiday. And I think that they could have bought it when they were 21, but they are still thinking in that mindset. So preservation of our wealth is very important to us. Now this one is a really interesting one, and when I came around tonight, a few of you at the tables asked me about it, and that is called Bloodline Protection. So as we all know, King Henry VIII was a bit naughty on occasion, and yet somehow Bill and Kate are living in the royal homes today. How does that happen? Well, if you're very, very affluent and very, very powerful, you'll use a special form of law that we're going to go into tonight. And when you have the privilege to do this, it actually protects your bloodline and family. And I want to tell you that there is a desire for all of us to do that. And humbly, I'll say this. Usually, by the third meeting with a family, they'll finally confess. Because they've been telling me all along that they sort of like their son-in-law, and they sort of like their daughter-in-law, but what if? What if they don't later? Or what if they go through a divorce? And I think this is quite practical because our divorce rates that have always been 50% are now 60%. So it would be foolish or naive of us to not think that we need to plan for bloodline protection. So I want to tell you that if you feel this way, you're normal, and there are tools for you to make sure that this occurs, and we're going to go in those tonight. Now, the last topic that we're going to talk about in why people plan is an interesting one, and I'm certain that all of you have experienced somebody fighting over an estate once in your life. Any show of hands? Well, this is a topic that's very challenging for family, and the reason for that is obviously it's an emotional time in life, and ultimately there's a death and then money involved, and so it's not a surprise that disharmony occurs often. But harmony is the focus of most families, and I'll tell you why. We only have one family. We don't have the privilege of getting a new family. We do have the privilege of buying another property, but we can't go find a new sister or a new parent or a new cousin. We lose that and we've lost that family. So we think harmony actually is the driver of a good estate plan. And I want to share a question with you that we ask our families constantly. And the question is this: when you're preparing your estate plan and you're going to put into play a particular strategy, ask yourself, if your family knew you had this plan, would they come home for Christmas? If they would not come home for Christmas, maybe we need to rethink it. And I think this is fundamentally easy to know by answering that question. And so we do encourage families to give a real heartfelt thought to this area so that they can keep harmony. So I'd like to share a real case study about this. It's a beautiful one because of the outcome. So I had the privilege in my early career to work with this very masculine family business. And when I was working alongside them, they had assured me that they wanted the family business to go to their daughter because she was the one that was in the business. And their son had taken further education, his MBA, and gone out to Toronto to work. So they figured he had his own career and he was set up, but that their daughter should probably inherit the family business. So that was the picture they had painted when they initiated their estate plan. So I said to them, why don't we ask your children a couple of questions? And one of the questions that we encourage our families to ask is, we're doing an estate plan as a family, and we would like to know if there's anything sentimental to you in our estate, and we may be able to account for it. And ultimately, we'll take it into thought when we're preparing it. So in this particular family, because the children were local, the daughter came into our office, and she was in the office, and I said to her, is there anything sentimental in your parents' estate that I should know about? And she said, oh yes, there is, something very important to me. She says, when I was just a little girl, my mother had written this poem. And what we would do is we would read it every Christmas as a family before we had our Christmas dinner. And I would love to inherit that poem, the original written one, and pass it on to the children. And I thought that was very touching. And then I said to her, well, do you want to, continue in the family business or inherit the family business because you're there? And she said, no, I hate the family business. All I do is I go there because my dad is there and it's my chance to have coffee with him. So I thought, oh dear, I have a story to tell the father here. Anyway, what happened with the son was quite noteworthy. When we interviewed the son, I said to the son, is there anything sentimental in your family we should know about? And he said this instantly, yes. Of course I'm going to inherit the family business. I'm the son in the family and it's my family name. And I said, but you're not in the business. Oh, I will be. So we had a large family discussion without the children present, and I want to tell you the outcome of this family. Today, the son came and moved back into Calgary from Toronto, and he's taken to their family business. At the time, I think it was valued at around 25 million. It's valued at over 100 million today. And the tricky part about this is his sister has the poem, but now she loves her brother and still goes to the business. I think it's great. When I phone her, I'm like, are you at the business? And she says she is. So you can see, though, had this family not had this kind of discussion, the turmoil that they might have found themselves in if she inherited the business and he inherited cash. We need to understand what the expectations are of our children. Now, my privilege some time ago is I was at a course load in Harvard with one of the most renowned estate planning individuals in the world. And this was very interesting because he opened his presentation in this particular way. Children lie. And the reason for that is society has told them that they're supposed to say this: go spend everything in Hawaii and I don't care. And that's what they're supposed to say. And they will supposedly say that while you're alive. But the moment you are gone, they're going to have an expectation. So how much better it is to know what that expectation is today and find a neutral way to solve it. And I think that's how we can preserve harmony in advance of our passing. Because as parents, we have authority to find resolution. When we leave it to the next generation, they're on equal playing field, and it puts them in a very precarious position. So I really think family harmony is a driver of a good estate plan. So remember to ask the Christmas dinner question when you're preparing yours.